Okay.
Hello, this is Sakimoto 24 here, and welcome to your doubles draft discussion. Again, I have with me Goomer 22. We're going to watch some fantastic battles from Week 3 in the Battle Fortress server for the doubles draft league. Goomer, how are you this morning?
Doing well. Excited for this Thanksgiving week. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm excited to eat some turkey. But I'm also excited to watch these battles. I don't know how most of them have played out. You've given me a hint as to how your played out because we just talk about it all the time. Um, and I obviously know how mine played out, but um, I don't think you know the result of mine. I don't think we don't know the result of anyone else's. So I'm in for we're in for some surprises here. I want to see what the cool strategies are this week.
Yeah. Me too. I'm ready to check out these results and see how week 3 turned out. So let's just jump into it.
Sounds good. Let's go over to the games. Um, let's
Yep.
see.
This is looks like mine first.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll let you kind of commentate it here. Only thing I wasn't.
What's that?
So I was pretty much expecting. I was pretty much expecting most of these mons from Coby, except for Kangaskhan. Didn't really know who he'd pick as a sixth, but Cinderace is always good. Tapu Bulu is always good. Matches up well against Anaconda.
Yeah, I see we've got the
Then he's got the Ice mode, and of course his G-Max Grimmsnarl.
and I see
Also,
your team doesn't really prefer ice except
he
for
was a tough matchup for
Articuno.
sure, and
So yeah. So he definitely has that ice. I noticed. He has that ice mode. He can go with the Arctivish, and the vanilla looks really scary. I mean, your Articuno doesn't really care, but all the other mons probably don't really prefer that, especially since I'm guessing one of them is gonna have Focus Sash because they are this is not a bulky team. Um, this is very hyper offense teams. Honestly, on both sides. So um, yeah, what do you say we just hop into it?
yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's see what the leads are. And this is Goomer versus Coby. So we got Coby on the left and Goomer on the right
Yep,
here.
both team voltage.
Okay, he's leading the G-Max Grimmsnarl first. Does he max first? He also has the Arctivish. He could switch out for the Vanillix and give that Arctivish that speed boost with the Slush Rush. Okay, and you're going to lead
Yeah,
Sandaconda.
this was a this was a scary lead. I didn't exactly know exactly what to do against it. Didn't know if he would just lead straight ice, but
Okay, you're both maxing turn 1. Arctivish is going for the Protect. Interesting. And you are going to Ice Shard for the Weakness Pile. And the Sand Spit. Interesting. Okay, so that was covering for a Vanilla Switch. Very interesting.
yeah, that was a huge protect by him. Great move. Slow playing it on Kobe's part here.
Okay, and a Hailstorm on the Articuno. So he is going to
I
have...
honestly expected that to do more.
On the I would too, honestly, because Articuno's special defense is a little more... it has a little more special bulk than it does the physical bulk. Okay, so you are going to take out the Arctis and set up the Sand Tomb. And you get the first KO of this battle. Okay, going for a Max Knuckle, trying to get the attack boosts. I'm wondering with this lead if he wanted you to target down Grimmsnarl so that he could just Max Knuckle a few times, throw in Vanillix, and just Vicious Rend everyone with Arctivish.
Yeah, yeah. I considered targeting the Grimmsnarl. I know he ran weakness policy before. I was a little bit scared of that as well, but yeah, that Tapu Bulu just makes quick work of Sandaconda.
Yeah, that's a big fat Woodhammer. I mean, you took him out too. I mean, it's really unfortunate that they pretty much near one-shot your Sandaconda, but it is 4-on-4 here. The Grimmsnarl has a little chip damage, but it is ×2 attack. So, I mean, this is a close battle at this point. Now during your prep, I know we talked about it a little bit. Who are you mainly concerned about?
Um, I was mainly concerned about, to be honest, the Grimmsnarl and the Arctivish. But in hindsight, um, I think I should have been more concerned about the Vanillix. Honestly, um, it's I haven't really seen how much damage Arctivish can do with Slush Rush because it's kind of an unexplored Pokemon until now. Now that it has hidden abilities, um, I assumed it can do some pretty good work,
Yeah,
especially with Fish being one power if it goes first.
yeah, and we don't know what item it had. I mean, it probably wasn't choice. It definitely wasn't choice, but um, I could have had an expert belt or something, or
Yeah,
just Mystic Water or whatever the item that increases water moves. It could have been scary. It could have been very scary there. So
yep,
Grimmsnarl goes down here. Okay, so it's a 3-on-2, but Cinderace is really
yeah.
low.
It was nice that he died to Sand Tomb, but not picking up the KO with the close combat really hurt me,
Yeah, because
and it kind of backed me into a corner.
yeah, I noticed that. I mean, you had speed control in that little 2-on-2 there, and you just couldn't quite dish out enough damage to get a KO. So he in return got a double KO there. So, I mean, that's a huge turn. And like you said, this has been a very
Uh,
hyper offensive battle.
and another thing I didn't pick up on is I know Kangaskhan is typically, a recent set that I've seen is just fake out last resort. You do big damage. I wasn't sure what else he might be running on Kangaskhan, but considering that he opted to fake out in Psychic Train, I'm not sure if he forgot about Psychic Train or not. But if he wants to use Last Resort, he's got to get that fake out of the way anyways. So I should have picked up on that and known that a big Last Resort was coming here.
Oh, that I mean, that's really interesting. I saw the fake out and I thought, I've done that plenty of time, a handful of times, like fake out in Psychic Train.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that in that situation, that's actually the right move, ironically. And
yeah.
yep, there's the last resort. Wow, going to take up
Otherwise,
Boltons.
exactly. Kind of had to hope for a little bit para hacks there. I also was not expecting the Protect on Vanillix, so that definitely got me. And he's got the weather control here, and so he's in great position.
Yeah, that Blizzard going to just chunk. And unless you get some paralysis hacks here, it looks like it's over at this point. Yep.
Right. Dies to the light form damage, and Vanillix stays alive to Sash anyway. So great plan by Coby. He definitely outplayed me there. He had some good prep, tough matchup, and props to him.
Yeah, a really, really interesting battle. Super hyper offensive. That was turn 7. It was a game ended in 7 turns. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
That,
that's pretty quick. And honestly, it could have. There's some big plays that were made. I mean, you could have. I mean, if you made that read and Max guarded with Sandaconda, you could, taken out the Bulu with or done some damage on the Bulu or set up Tailwind. That could have been a
yeah.
really interesting play. I mean, and then the turn, if that close combat ends up taking out that Grimmsnarl, that's huge too. You save your Hitmonlee for the end for against a Kangaskhan to Vanillix. I mean, this battle could have gone either way. It seemed like you both had good prep. Coby just ended up having his game plan just was executed a little better.
Yep. Definitely. Um, so yeah, good game, and I guess we'll move on to the next one now.
Sounds good. Let's do it. So this next one is mine. This is me. Uh,
Yes.
so
So you're facing Nick squared, which is EgoNiko.
yep.
Got that Gmax Blastoise. Um, Interested to see the Lycanroc Midnight. I haven't seen too much of him. Um, I obviously Togekiss Blastoise. That's kind of similar to A Drive's WE plan. You can set up Shell Smash. Very scary. Um, these both look like very strong teams. You got some support mons, and you got some uh, follow me on both sides, fake out on both sides, and it should be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Right on. Well, I already know.
Very interesting. The Zoomerl is Sap Sipper as well.
Yeah, and that was something I was a little scared of because I don't have anything that really hits it for super effective except for grass, and Sap Super just kind of totally eliminates that possibility. So that was something I had to be careful of. You help me with a little bit of the prep, so you have an idea of somewhat what my strategy is, at least a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll hop into this and I'll let you see what happens.
Okay. All right. So, are we going to see some uh, G-Max leads? Okay. So we see the Blastoise, expecting potentially Togekiss here. Yep, we do see the Togekiss match with Inteleon and Clefairy. Ah, so both Follow Me's, both G Maxes, both Waters. Very, very even at this point, I would say. We'll see if the team they Inteleon can obviously do focus energy setups. Blastoise could do Shell Smash, but opts to Dynamax immediately next to this Togekiss. We should see potentially a Follow Me or just a Dazzling Gleam. Wow, just trying to chunk that Clefairy and Inteleons. That's decent damage actually. Clefairy eating that Cannonade. Will it die to the Vortex? No. Now the Inteleon Dynamax or G Maxes, sorry, and oh wow, we see a helping hand from Clefairy. And Inteleon, if it's holding the Razor Claw or Scope Lens, it has full critical hit chance right now with a Sniper 2.25, and that's a huge max airstream against a typically very defensive Pokemon or bulky Blastoise. That did a lot of damage. Blastoise opting to just get rid of that Clefairy, not have to worry about that Follow Me anymore. Togekiss still very healthy, can Follow Me the next turn. You've got Rillaboom, so you've got the threat of Grassy Glide if he tries to make a read that the Togekiss is switching out, or fake out the Togekiss, which we might see here. You do see the fake out in the Togekiss. Doesn't Inteleon go into the Max Guard or take out the Togekiss though? And Saki makes the great read there. Ooh, does eat up the Yachi Berry though. Great prep by EgoNiko, and this Togekiss is going to hang around for another turn. Hail crashing down. Cannonade doing some extra damage. EgoNiko still has all his Pokemon, but his lead is looking very low on health now. Wonder if this Togekiss will opt to Follow Me, and it does. Inteleon's got one more turn of max. Let's see what it goes for. Airstream, giving it another speed boost. 2x speed, full crit. And this Rillaboom has a speed boost. That's huge for Sakimoto. And a body slam from Rillaboom. Not a move you typically see. However, I think that's the right play there because a Grassy Glide would have gone before Inteleon and gone into the Togekiss, which might not have taken it out depending on what the Rillaboom set is and what the Togekiss, how defensive it is. But that way he gets to take out the Togekiss with Inteleon and use a body slam on the Blastoise to finish it off. So a great play by Saki there. Lycanroc and Berserker. Berserker, I would expect going for a fake out here. So it's just kind of who Lycanroc wants to take out. Is it Scarfed potentially? Oh, this Inteleon has 2x speed though. Had to stop that Grassy Glide from Rillaboom. And we see the Inteleon just taking out the Lycanroc. We haven't seen a Sash from EgoNiko. So I'll be interested to see where that comes into play. Saki looking like it has a lot of momentum. This Inteleon, doesn't look like anything on EgoNiko's side can hit for super effective anymore. That's gonna be really hard for him to deal with. We'll see if this Darmanitan maybe Scarfed. Oh, it is Sash though. Okay, so we don't see the Scarf from Darmanitan. We'll see if the Rillaboom read that and just opted to take out the Darmanitan. No Grassy Glide. Meaning the Darmanitan just picks up a KO on that Rillaboom, taking itself out with the Flare Blitz, which the Hail would have knocked, or actually the Hail wouldn't have knocked out because it's an Ice type. And we see the Berserker actually going for a close combat in this Inteleon. Huge play from EgoNiko, getting a little bit more momentum there. Down to his last two though, and this Berserker only has lower defenses. Not typically a bulky Pokemon anyways, and it's 2-3 right now. we'll see if there's a Azumarill can bring it back. Azumarill really threatens this Urshifu with a play rough. Could just take it out completely. So the Sableye does opt for the fake out. Protecting really isn't worth it because Urshifu can hit through protect anyways. So you might as well just attack because you don't know who the Sableye is going to fake out. And the Urshifu does opt to just get rid of this Berserker to make it a 3-on-1. Good play by Saki. Not sure that there was much EgoNiko could have done in that position. And depending on what this Urshifu's carrying, looks like it could be game over here for EgoNiko. We see the burn from Sableye just to seal the deal there, and the poison jab taking it out. But while burned, this Azumarill really won't be able to do too much with its play rough, which I assume we'll see here. It actually does take it out, considering the Urshifu has lower defenses. It would be interesting to see if the Sableye is carrying a physical move. However, it's a timer game at this point, considering the Azumarill is burned, and I don't think Azumarill gets any healing moves. And the Sand Slash should be able to take it out anyways with just like an Iron Head or something. Sableye going for Quash. It might not have an attacking move, but this Burn's got it on timer, and either way, the Iron Head finishes off. Wow, so great game, Saki.
Thank you, Goom.
Yes, EgoNiko actually almost brought it back there with the Flare Blitz, a nice tech move on the Darmanitan and being sashed there, and then the close combat taking out the Inteleon. So I like that play. But that Sableye makes it really hard with the fake out and the Will-O-Wisp shutting down that Azumarill's damage output. And not being able to protect him from Urshifu also really makes it hard to play passive. And so I think.
What's that?
Wondering if EgoNiko opted to. I'm wondering if EgoNiko opted to max right away based on the lead, or if he always intentioned to do that. With Toge's Blastoise, I would always expect kind of a Shell Smash setup. So that's very interesting. That he just opted to max right away. But it was definitely a scary matchup considering you had Rillaboom to always threaten that Blastoise. So good play on both sides. And again, like you said, my game was only 7 turns. Yours was 9. A little more offensive again. So
Yeah, so a couple things with this battle. There's a moment where I thought about doubling into that Darmanitan because I felt like it might have Sash, and that ended up, and it did, and I could have made that read. But the interesting thing about that is, since he did have Sash, and he did take out my Rillaboom, which I could have saved, the next turn, finding out that the Darmanitan had Sash, I could safely close combat into that Berserker, and knowing that he did not have Sash. So it's sort of that trade of information. Like, if I Grassy Glided with Rillaboom and Snipe Shotted, I would have defeated Darmanitan without knowing he had Sash. So it's interesting how there's like a trade of information, and it could actually, how something could hurt you and something it could help you in later, and how you use that information.
yeah.
And I know, kind of, I guess my game plan here was just, I think my team honestly matched up really well against EgoNiko's. He would have had to make some really big reads to come. And well, he did make it really close. But being that Togekiss and Blastoise are his only 2 special attackers, saving Sableye and saving Sandslash and Urshifu, who are great against defensive Pokemon. I mean, Sableye has Will-O-Wisp, and then Urshifu is defensively not that frail. Same with Sandslash. I felt like I was in pretty good position, and I got some lucky reads at the beginning with my lead, so that really helped out a lot.
Yeah. The setup in Talion is very scary. I don't see it on ladder too much, but in draft it can be especially useful, and even against like we saw against that Blastoise, who's typically somewhat bulky. Max Airstream did almost 75% of its Dynamax health, so that's ridiculous damage output. And especially with those Airstream boosts, you got a lot of momentum. The only way to really slow that down is with fake out or or moves. And so I think you put yourself in a good position there, and great game to both of you. Um,
Right on. You want to hop over to the next one?
let's do it.
Alrighty. Okay, so for this one, we have.
Tindall and JFletch VGC.
Oh, can we watch this? We don't have. This one's private. Oh, it's Tindall. And oh, okay, JFletch. Yeah, can we play this? I hope we can.
Yeah.
So matchup here. Tindall's team is scary. I've been thinking about his team. I mean, Venusaur and Torkoal. That combo is just so frustrating. I deal with it on the ladder still, and it's so frustrating. Weezing can be really interesting. Metagross super good right now. You can't Dynamax it in this format, but still a scary Pokemon. And then on the side of JFletch, he can kind of shut down that Wampert Swatter moves with Gastrodon. He can set Trick Room with Cofagrigus. Although I don't think that's in his game plan, seeing what Pokemon he's bringing. Zapdos super interesting. He brought Shiftry, a Chlorophyll user, so he's going to try to counter that Torkoal Sun.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be really close.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think. Yeah, I think Arcanine looks really good in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting if he has if he has Air Balloon potentially, which means the Venusaur would have to use like max oozes. The Crobat could be running Inner Focus, which means Shiftry won't be able to fake it out. That would be interesting. I was actually thinking about what a good Sun counter is, and obviously Torkoal matches up well against Corviknight, but Corviknight's a really good counter to Venusaur itself. You can't max ooze it, max grass isn't doing anything, and you can't max ground it. So that's actually a very good counter, but he's got to get rid of that Torkoal first. And nothing else really hits the Corviknight that well. So I think if JFletch can play around this Torkoal and get rid of it, and then wait to use a late game Dynamax with Corviknight, that could be very useful for him in this game. I mean, he doesn't necessarily hit Metagross or Swampert for super effective, but he Edley don't hit him for super effective back. So unless Metagross gets Thunder Punch, which it might. So that could be interesting in tech move if Tindall's carrying that. I think he does actually, now that I think about it. So getting rid of this Metagross will also be important.
All right.
Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm hopping in here. Here we go. Let's see what the leads are. So it looks like JFletch is going to throw out the Corviknight right away. That is his G-Max. And he's also going to pair it with the Arcanine. Interesting. Is he going to play defensive here? Does he want the Intimidate and the Snarls? Shutting down the early Venusaur lead. Venusaur going to max right away. Is it going for a Max Quake on this Arcanine? Or is it just setting up the Vine Lash?
I actually like this move from JFletch, maxing the Corviknight right away, and opting to take on this Venusaur, especially because you don't see the Torkoal lead.
Ember.
Ooh, a side Ember.
That is something you do not. You don't see that every
policy.
day. Wow. I did not expect that turn one.
And
that Arcanine also
that's
taking
great tech.
Taking almost nothing from that Max Quake. So now he's going to do a Torkoal.
Yeah, it depends on how much special attack he has in that Venusaur, which I assume a lot. But that Arcanine must be very especially bulky. He could have Assault Vest though.
Okay, he's opting for a Snarl and a Max Steel Spike. I'm not sure why he went for the Crobat. Crobat doesn't look that threatening here. Torkoal looks like the big threat. So he's going to go for a Burning Jealousy. And he is going to burn it. That was a huge play from Tindall.
He was probably expecting that's a good cover, especially because he could have gone for the Eruption there, but he didn't know that, considering that he could have just JFletch could have just wind raged the Torkoal. But a Burning Jealousy kind of covers both options. If he gets low on health, it still does damage, and if he goes for like Steel Spikes or something like that, it burns him. So a great play by Tindall. And now that Crobat's out of the play, maybe you want speed control because now the sun's up for some more turns if you get Shiftry in here, and there's only 3 more turns of Tailwind here. Actually, burns the his own Swampert on Lava Plume. That's rough.
Yeah, that's actually. You wonder why he has Lava Plume too. I mean, you could see the Metagross or the Venusaur with the weakness policy. That would be my expectation. He's gonna try to read this fake out.
Did he read the Protect and go for the fake out?
No, he reads the Leaf Blade and he protects him and saves his life.
Will a Brave Bird take out the Torkoal? Not enough. But I'm not sure the Shiftry dies to a Burning Jealousy here. Ooh, barely survives. Yeah, that's Snarl coming in clutch.
That's actually huge. And now that I'm curious to see what this, I expect this Swampert to switch out because I mean he is a goner if he takes the Shiftry's Leaf Blade, and this Shiftry does have speed control with Sun.
I expect to switch into Wheezing. It's pretty safe.
Yep, there it is.
Yep, and that's what we see. Zapdos slow playing it with a Detect. And Shiftry Leaf Blading. Even though the Shiftry is gone here, the Swampert won't be able to use any water moves because of this Gastrodon. Except unless there is a Weezing on the field, which would negate that Storm Drain, which means it would be stuck doing ground moves, which the Zapdos resist though. So if JFletch can find a way to get rid of this Weezing, that would be huge. Ally switches.
I like the move.
Probably trying to avoid a strange Steam from Weezing. I wonder if we see a Will-O-Wisp from Weezing on the Cofagrigus.
Oh, we do, but it misses, and that's Cofagrigus being a special attacker, not affected that much, but that burn would chip him down some health.
Yeah, and now he's got to play Ally Switch Mind Games because JFletch has revealed it.
But this Weezing is frustrating to deal with for the Zapdos. I mean, the Zapdos can't one-shot it, most likely, and that Will-O-Wisp or the Strange Team would be extremely difficult to do, to take. Thunderous Kick.
Right, and we see the Swampert seemingly reading Liquidation or wanting to go for or reading the Ally Switch, wanting to go for that Zapdos. The defense drop actually not boding well for him. The burn greatly reduced that damage. If you look at it, the Liquidation did about half, and that Swampert's burn, so that would have almost OHKO'd the Zapdos, and that defense boost gives him Defiant now. So that's some, and that Swampert's on burn timer there. So that is that's a rough RNG there for Tindall. But either way, I think JFletch was in a good position there. And yeah, like you said, Shadow Ball, special attack Cofagrigus doesn't really care about that burn.
And honestly, that Ally Switch, the second Ally Switch was huge because he burned the Cofagrigus instead of the Zapdos, and then the Liquidation lowered Zapdos' defense, allowing it to OHKO Weezing with a Brave Bird. I mean, that was just a huge turn of events. And now we have a 2-on-1.
Yeah, Weezing's pretty physically defensive. I don't think a Brave Bird ever OHKOs unless you're not running zero bulk.
Yeah.
And good protect by JFletch there, just playing it slow, letting Cofagrigus set up that Trick Room. Now he can chip him down with Shadow Ball or opt to Ally Switch and play Mind Games. With that burn timer, I would think that he should just go offensive with Earth Power and Shadow Ball.
The scary part here is, does he have the weakness policy?
But considering there was a Lava Plume, I would expect it. However, I don't see it. Interesting.
And I think he had it in the bag anyways, because it looks like he is one attack away, and even if he had weakness policy and one-shot one of his Pokemon, he could just attack next turn with the other one. So
exactly,
I think JFletch has this in the bag.
Yeah, good positioning in there at the end. We actually did end up seeing the Trick Room from the Cofagrigus, which I didn't necessarily expect. But actually, considering that Tindall has Tailwind, I think it was a very good move to bring that Trick Room. Even though JFletch's mons are kind of mid speed to high speed. They're not necessarily, except for the Kofuryusa and Gastron. It you wouldn't necessarily expect Trick Room, but uh, it was a good counter to Tailwind. So I think that was a good prep on his part. And um, yeah, very very interesting. I think the side Ember Max Airstream or Wind Rage on the Venusaur was the key play of that battle. Like losing your Gmax right away really makes it hard in these 6v6 battles. And I'm curious if a regular Wind Rage would have killed Venusaur without the weakness policy. I mean, Corviknight doesn't have too much attack, so I don't know if that I don't think that necessarily Oko's without the weakness policy there.
I don't think it does, and I that was a humongous play because Venusaur was extremely threatening. I mean, he could have set up Tailwind, he could have taunted and then switched into Torkoal at any time. But turn one, your Gmax goes down, and that's huge. I mean, that was that. Maybe JFletch didn't have the best matchup here, and or maybe he did, but regardless, he made a really sort of a ballsy play. I mean, he could have burned himself with Ember. He made a ballsy play. Turn one, it pays off. It was really unexpected. I don't think Tindall, really saw it coming. Maybe he did. I don't know. But he takes out the Venus for turn one, and that just gives him an immediate, really nice lead. I think the Torkoal did some work here as well. I mean, JFletch did get a little lucky. Later in the game, he got that liquidation defense drop, which allowed him to Oko that Wheezing, and then the Torkoal burned his own Swampert. Big plays. I don't know if they changed the game, but they're definitely interesting plays, and they definitely could have. And then you see,
Yeah,
here in the end game, Metagross being a pretty threatening Pokemon right now. I don't know if it was the most threatening in this matchup, but there at the end, it was almost useless, because of the positioning.
yeah. I think the burn on the Swampert was potentially the worst of the two though, because like that allowed um, uh, the Zapdos to potentially live because it looked like that liquidation did about 50% on that Zapdos, and so um, I wonder if Tyndall knew that a liquidation from that Swampert. I'm not sure if it was only Mystic Water or what the item was, but I wonder if he knew that the liquidation would could potentially get an Oko on that Zapdos because that would have absolutely changed the game, and that burn just gave him no chance of that happening.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Definitely a really interesting battle. We had some really lucky plays, some insane reads, some a wacky strategy with the Ember and the weakness policy. You know, caught me off guard.
Yep, that's the type of stuff I love to see on in draft.
Love it, love
Very
it, love
useful.
it. GG's to both. Congratulations, JFletch, for taking that one week three. You want to move on to the next battle, Goomer?
Let's do it.
We have two more for y'all. So this one is uh wait,
This is
those
actually a makeup game from round two.
oh
Vikack and
okay.
JFletch delay theirs, but that's fine. We can see watch another JFletch battle here.
Well, yeah, I was losing my mind. I saw JFletch again. I was like, what the mutts? But okay, so this is a makeup match. So yeah, we'll take a look at this one. We just saw JFletch's team. He's bringing different Pokemon this game. I mean, he brought Corviknight, Arcanine, Shiftry last for that last battle, and this one he is opting for Gigalith, Sneasel, and Sandslash instead of the other three. Um, Vikack's team looks extreme. I hope I'm saying your name right, Vikack or Vikack. I'm not sure, but interesting team as well. He's got the classic Indeedee Hatterene, and I believe that Hatterene is his Gmax. And then he's got Ludicolo. I'm interesting to see what he does. Some fake out pressure, Lipard fake out pressure. We have him on top, fake out pressure. The only problem with that is you have Indeedee. So if you do set up Psychic Terrain early, you can't have any of that fake out pressure, which is something that's really
Uh,
interesting.
except you can fake out the Corviknight,
You can, yeah.
um, because it's in the air. However, it is most likely going to Gmax, so then fake out wouldn't really do anything. So yeah, effectively fake out isn't that useless if the sector trains up. Um, and the Lipard can set up Rain with Prankster Rain Dance for the Ludicolo, or do Copycat for the Hatterene to just get that Trick Room up right away. So really good synergy on Vikax's part. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what J Fletch's Trick Room answer is here. Um, I mean, he can opt to fake out with the Sneasel or the Shiftry. Uh, Corviknight's semi-slow, but the Hatterene could be carrying Mystical Fire for that, and Gigalith is pretty slow as well, slower than Hatterene, so that could also be a Trick Romancer, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely a really interesting matchup here. I honestly don't know what to expect out of a lead here. I mean, you could see Ndidi Hatterene from Vikack's side, but JFletch, I'm not quite sure. I mean, we saw last game what he did. So is he going for that
Yeah,
again?
yeah, he comes up with some interesting strategies, right? We'll see.
All right, let's hop into it. Gigalith Sandslash. Now, does Sandslash get
You
a
see the
Sand
Indeedee
Rush?
there. He does get Sand Rush. We see a switch out. It's on normal speed here.
Oh, there we can switch it.
That's fine.
I just switched over
But
really slow.
I think what we noticed from that first turn, what we noticed actually, Hitmontop was not Intimidate. I noticed. So he might be Technician here. We saw that Triple Axle come out. Technician Triple Axle does big damage. Those first two, or actually, I believe all three hits getting that Technician boost. You've got 20, 40, 60. So it's essentially a base 180 power move.
Yeah, really interesting. And being paired with the Indeedee, he can't really go for any priority moves. So is this an offensive Hitmontop? Maybe he didn't want the Intimidate because the Mirror Armor from the Corviknight just shuts that down. It's really annoying. Yep. So maybe that was his plan. And
it is life.
It's Life Orb.
Yeah, you see the Life Orb, and being able to chunk the Gmax as it switches in was huge. I know that is one of the tougher things in this format, is that if you do switch in your Gmax Pokemon, you do risk getting some damage on it, and that's the only mon you can Dynamax. So you lose out on a lot of your Dynamax effectiveness when that happens.
Now, I didn't quite see.
The Corviknight went for a Gmax Wind Rage, which actually got rid of that Psychic Drain, which I think is really interesting in this matchup.
Yeah, so I think Wind Rage, not something you see a lot, but can be like situationally extremely good. Taking out screens,
Especially
taking out terrain.
Yeah.
I think Gmax Corviknight is a really cool Gmax Pokemon, and I like how JFletch has been using it. Lash out! Really wow, takes out the Manectric in one shot. A crit. A
critical hit. I wonder if that mattered. I mean, Shiftry does have some decent attack, but Lash Out isn't the most powerful move, and Manectric, it's not super effective or anything. So I wonder if that Manectric would have lived. I'm guessing it would have without the crit, and that saves the Corviknight, which keeps his Gmax alive. That's actually a huge play on JFletch's part. Mm-hmm. We'll see if Vikack can bring it back from here. He's still got the Liepard Hatterene stuff, except for Sneasel can come in and fake out now that the Psychic Train's gone from that Wind Rage. So great setup on JFletch's part too.
I think Liepard does have the speed advantage though, so she can actually fake out the Sneasel. The problem is that Sneasel probably has inner focus and can fake out the Hatterene, but the Hatterene goes for the Dynamax or the Gmax, so fake out not going to do anything. Ooh, Mirror Armor. Forgets about the Mirror Armor.
Yeah. An easy thing to forget for sure.
And taunting that Liepard.
Now it can't copycat. I like the play by Vikack as well, though, because I mean, obviously the fake tears into the Corviknight, that Mirror Armor just blocking it. But I do like the option for not going for the copycat, because it could easily just be faked out. Obviously, JFletch seemed to read it, and even if, I'm not sure if he has fake out on the Sneasel, but and just goes for the taunt. But in that situation, if you feel like you're going to be faked out, you might as well just Dynamax the Hatterene and go for a max move, and then you can copycat the next turn. However, since he is taunted, that kind of shuts that strategy down, and now this Hatterene's just going to have to start throwing off max moves, which it is extremely powerful.
Now we see Vikack kind of has the momentum here. It's a 3-on-2, and it was looking really good for JFletch. But taking out the Corviknight and Sneasel in the last two turns, and he still has one turn of his Dynamax, or his Gmax. So I mean, this battle is still very close, but it's looking to be in Vikack's favor.
Right. we'll see if this Arcanine's physical or special. It could throw out an Iron Head or a Flare Blitz in the sun to take out the Hatterene. Liepard probably not have that much offensive pressure. This Hatterene, wow. So I'm not sure if this Hatterene is a little bit bulkier or if the Arcanine just doesn't have as much investment. But that Flare Blitz not taking out the Hatterene in the sun.
I think he has quite a bit of defense investment on the Hatterene, which I really like because that Corviknight's Iron Heads were really not doing much. I mean, he had the Badbury Berry for the first hit, but the second hit, really didn't do much. And I expect it to be a quite bulky Hatterene. And you see there, because of that, it gets that G-Max Smite off, confusing JFletch's last two Pokemon. And Ludicolo, not who you want to see if you're JFletch, in my opinion.
Right. He can absolutely threaten the Sand Slash.
Although, could we see a Poison Jab here?
Sucker Punch failing, though. We see the Muddy Water in the sun.
Okay, Mango Berry. And he does get the Helping Hand Poison Jab.
Through the confusion. That is huge. And this Ludicolo is gone. Now this Liepard might only be able to Snarl or Sucker Punch. We saw Sucker Punch come out, so we might need some big confusions on JFletch's side for Vikack to bring this back now.
Going for a fake Tear Zone, he snaps out of confusion. This is probably going to be it. I expect this Flare Blitz to take it. He has Sash, but it's just one more hit away from the end game here. The end of the game.
He had to hope for some confusion there.
Yep, really well played. Extremely close. I like how Vikack used his Hatterene there. Really well. I like how
it looked like he had some defense investment. JFletch, if you look at JFletch's Pokemon too, they're all physical except for Arcanine, which can run physical or special. So that was really smart on Vikack's part if he did that. I think, which considering they are all physical, it's very interesting for the Hitmontop not to go Intimidate. However, Intimidate would have been reflected by Mirror Armor and intimidated the Hitmontop and reduced that damage output a lot. So I actually kind of like the Technician play by Vikack.
Yeah, it was really interesting. You see, and I just wanted to make a quick comment here that at that end, Helping Hand, Poison Jab to Oko that Ludicolo, huge play. And I don't know if Vikack could made that read, and I don't even think in the moment I made that read. The only reason I expected the Poison Jab is because he went for the Helping Hand there, and then it kind of clicked in my brain. But
that's a great tech move for Sand Slash to hit that Ludicolo for super effective. Otherwise, it would have just had to rely on either rock or ground moves, which we typically see on it. So that's some great prep by JFletch.
It was, and the Poison Jab is also hitting the Hatterene for super effective. So a nice bring on that move. And I think this is really interesting about Draft League is like Hitmontop. If you see a Hitmontop on the ladder, it is. I've never seen a Hitmontop that is not Intimidate. I mean, Hitmontop is usually a defensive utility with like close combat, Intimidate, Fake Out, that sort of stuff. And here, Intimidate is not ideal for this Hitmontop. So, Vikack is forced to play it in a different way than is almost ever seen, on the ladder. And I think that's what's really interesting about Draft League is when your Pokemon, the typical way it's used, if it doesn't match up well against your opponent, well, you have to just reinvent how that Pokemon's used. And it's really interesting to see here.
Yep. Really good prep on both sides. It looked like Vikack had some momentum there at the end. But not getting any confusions from that G-Max Smite really helped JFletch, I think. And he clutched it out there at the end. So great prep by both. I like the tech moves on both sides and the sets they brought. So very, very close game. Props to both.
Yeah, props to both. And that's another win for JFletch, 2 in a row that we've just seen. So definitely an interesting competitor.
Right.
We can hop
jump on over to the next one.
Yeah, let's. This is battle number 5. This is our last match that we are going to watch, and this one I can tell is going to be this is going to be a brawl here. We got Squirly versus Trabuzz, who is this Pika?
Pika.
Okay, Squirly versus Pika. What are your first impressions of this matchup, Goomer?
First impressions are you've got Clefairy could be potentially unaware to stop a setup for the Snorlax, although it doesn't look like Squirly has any like follow me or anything for the Snorlax to set up. So I'm wondering if he even is trying to do that, or if he's just running a max attack set, or possibly like a curse set or something. I suppose he could. Um, but um, you've got the plus and minus with Kling Klang and Toxtricity again. So that's really interesting. Malamar, I wonder if that was brought as a counter for the Snorlax or any Aurorus for superpower, because Aurorus with rock moves threatens the Charizard, and ice threatens the um, Salamence, and a lot of people will actually, instead of Snow Warning, run Refrigerate Hyper Voice, which can it's a spread move, so it ignores that Clefairy Follow Me. Same with Rock Slide, so that's really scary for Pika. So he's got to have to play around that.
And I think, we've seen. I remember seeing Pika's match last week, and Pika's got a really interesting team. He doesn't bring the Credilli this week because it doesn't look like there are any water threats on the side of Squirly. But this Charizard and this Salamence and this Rotom have done work for him. I'm interested to see how he uses them this week. And Squirly's team it really fascinates me because he can run. We could see a speedy Snorlax here paired with this Tornadus for Tailwind. But we could also see, if he decides that that's not a great idea, Tailwind isn't the play. Kling Klang does get Trick Room, so he could also opt to do that. A lot of his Pokemon are in that middle speed tier, so it could go either way. It really depends on positioning and what he decides to do. But this is going to be a really interesting one.
Yeah, and they Salamence and Tornadus both get Tailwind, so they both have that Tailwind mode. Um, and I'm interested to see what Decidueye does. He's not brought in too many matches, but it looks like he's brought as a counter to this Rotomosh, which Pika seems to like to bring. Um, so it'll be really interesting. Really, honestly, actually, looking at Squirrely's team, it looks like he might have a hard time dealing with this Magnezone. Not too many things hit for super effective. Although he could be bringing a ground move on the Snorlax, so that's what I would expect.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see that. The scary part is you have this, you have a three Pokemon who resist ground or immune to ground in these other teams. So that could be part of his strategy. There's going to be some mind games here.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited to see this one. Let's check it out.
All right, let's do it. Okay. Squirrely going to go for the Tornadus. Okay. We're probably going to see an early Tailwind here. This is what I would expect. Or it could taunt if we see the Clefable. Will we see another Clefable Rotom lead? No, we see Magnezone right off the bat.
And that threatens Aurora a lot with just a Flash Cannon.
Yep.
I assume take it out.
Threatens.
So we should see a switch out. Yep.
Threatens both of his Pokemon, honestly. So, gonna opt in the Decidueye, maybe expecting a Flash Cannon.
Yeah, but if Magnezone read that, he could have Thunderbolted. So I like the protect from Squirrely, playing it slow. This Malamar, wow, setting up Trick Room.
Yeah, expecting a Tailwind there, I think.
I actually completely forgot that Malamar got Trick Room.
Same here.
And that's a huge play on Pika's part.
So now we have the Snorlax, who is in Trick Room. Most likely the slowest Pokemon on the field. And the Decidueye goes for the U-turn. Not always a move you bring on Decidueye, but here it picks up a KO on the, being 4 times super effective on this Malamar. Interesting.
What's really interesting there, too, is that the Malamar and Decidueye have fairly similar speed tiers, somewhere around 70, I believe. So Squirrely might have accounted for that and ran a slow Decidueye to counter that Malamar. That's very interesting.
The Max Quake is going to take on the Magnezone, and honestly, that is a humongous play because he doesn't have to worry about that Magnezone, and he doesn't have to play those mind games of, is he going to switch into a flying Pokemon?
Yeah, sometimes that Rotom carries Ally Switch, or he could have switched in. So that's really really big risky play by Squirrely, but it pays off. However, the Rotom does actually opt that Will-O-Wisp to burn to shut down the Snorlax's damage output. It didn't set up, and so now it's going to look like it's not dealing out too much damage.
It is going to be annoying here with some defense boosts. It's already got a special defense boost. So the Snorlax, it may be burned, but it is going to be extremely hard to take down because of its bulk. And giving the Tornadus, a little bit of bulk too could help against this Rotom. We'll see. Yeah, but it looks like Thunderbolt not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is a bulky Rotom, possibly with a Citrus Berry. We haven't seen the item. Um, Tornadus really doesn't look like it has any offensive pressure here. Yep, and Squirly opts to switch it out, especially considering, without the offensive pressure, you get the Snorlax burned. You don't want this Rotom setting up with like a nasty plot or something. So a good switch in to Toxtricity so that you can start throwing off overdrives and chunking down this Rotom. However, the Rotom doesn't seem to be wanting to set up. It keeps throwing off attacks, wanting to get rid of that Tornadus. It's interesting right now is it's still 6-2. Alaska Squirrely's Pokemon have some chip on him, but he hasn't lost a Pokemon yet.
Yeah, he's made some really good switches, and he's taken advantage of the Trick Room by using his Gmax, using Snorlax. Now Pika does have some. He does still have the Clefairy, and he's got in my opinion, his three All Stars here: the Rotom, the Salamence, and the Charizard. So let's see what happens.
Yes, and even though Pika does have 2 Mons down, he hasn't used his Gmax yet. So it'll be very interesting to see how he uses it in this matchup.
Yeah, and if you look at Squirly's team, just look at what a Gmax Wildfire does to his team. It hits 3 of his Pokemon for neutral and 3 for super effective. Actually, I'm sorry, 4 for neutral and 2 for super effective. I mean, he can launch that off at any time, and that's going to be pretty scary.
Wow, we see a Protect from Aurora, slow playing it for the Tailwind. I wonder if the Salamence is opting for a Tailwind as well to counter. Ooh, opts to Earthquake.
I like the move. A good Protect on the side of Squirly, saving his Auroras here. Now, he is free to go for that Tailwind, and is he going to go for a Hyper Voice here?
We see a Protect from the Salamence, though. That's the question. Or is he choiced?
It looks like he's... Ooh. Oh, it doesn't...
Wow, he is choiced, but it does not... Yeah, it looks like it doesn't kill.
That is a bulky... That Earthquake did nothing.
Yeah, you've got the spread, and actually, it's in grassy terrain. That's why it didn't kill. I completely forgot about that. I wonder, that's an easy thing to miss. I wonder if Pika forgot about that and knew it wouldn't kill. But either way, he doesn't have great switch-ins to it because Aurora's is going to be throwing off spread moves, so Clefable doesn't really do too much there. And this Aurora is going to outspeed the Charizard, and we know it's not choiced, so we should see a Rock Slide here. Or I wonder if we see a Protect, potentially just to stall out some Tailwind. We do see a Protect from the Rotom.
I like that move because, I mean, Squirly can easily just go for a Leaf Blade here and then a Rock Slide. I mean, that's really safe. Meteor Beam.
Yeah, and he's got the Power Herb. You know what? I like that play a lot more because he's covering for the fact that Charizard could have had Chardy Berry, which I don't think a Rock Slide absolutely wouldn't have killed. And if he, in addition, Rock Slide could miss, and with the spread, it's reduced damage, so it probably wouldn't OHKO anyways. So I like the Meteor being tech there. I didn't even know Aurora's got that. That's huge.
F. Squirly says F. So
F in the chat.
So we see, Rotom and Clefable out here. They're the last hopes, but we got 5 Pokemon on the side of Squirly. Squirly's looking really good here, and this is probably going to be it really soon.
Yep, and Squirly didn't have to bring out Kling Klang, but it is 4-on-1 here, and it looks like it's going to go down. Great plays by Squirly, great switches. There was chip on the Toxtricity and the Snorlax there, so that was very interesting how that played out. How did the grassy terrain even get up? I didn't even.
That was a max overgrowth from the Snorlax.
From the Snorlax,
mm-hmm.
and I'm wondering if Squirly did that to cover for the Rotom, or if he was covering for an Earthquake there, because if you look at it, he's got 3 Pokemon weak to ground, and that's actually really smart to set up that grassy terrain. So I'm wondering if that was intentional or if that was just a nice side effect there.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, bring that seed bomb for the max overgrowth to cover for that rotom. Really nice offense. But yeah, we see that grassy terrain almost doing more than the max overgrowth did overall. Um, a
Yeah,
thriller there.
if that Aurorus dies there, I think that's absolutely becomes a completely different game. Uh, because I don't think anything else hits Salamence for super effective necessarily, and throwing off earthquakes would be able to really chunk down Squirrely's team. So that was um, really the
I mean
I
that.
guess you could say it was the play of the match, but setting up the grassy terrain was, I guess, the play of the match then in that
And
sense.
then you see, I mean, I spoke about the Charizard being a super huge threat for Squirrely's team. Squirrely, because of how he positioned himself, um, that Charizard didn't get a chance to do anything. I mean, it really just had no choice. Even if it max guards there and saves another turn, it still doesn't get to do anything because, Tailwind's up and, Squirrely still has speed control. It can just chunk this Charizard. So, really nice play on the side of Squirrely, just keeping that tailwind up, keeping speed control, and then really threatening that Charizard with that meteor beam. I mean, that was nice. Um,
Well, and what's interesting is I guess Aurora's I mean it can go physical, but given that it's refrigerate hyper voice, you're thinking it's going to be special. Rock Slide's a physical move, so you wouldn't necessarily expect it to do that much damage as well. I didn't think about that, and so having that meteor beam, what's interesting about that is his spread move would have been refrigerate hyper voice. So Clefable, if it had been paired with that Charizard, actually would have been fairly useful there at the end. Um, I mean, hyper voice refrigerate would still do a big damage, but he at least would have been able to redirect that huge meteor beam, and then if Pika could have gotten like a max airstream off, or even a max wildfire, just to get rid of that Aurorus. That also could have been a huge play. But like you said, Squirrely positioned themselves very, very well.
yeah, both these teams, I think I'm a big fan of both these teams. Are really scary. They have a lot of tools that they can use. I know we've talked about Pika's team before. He has a really interesting team with a lot of synergy. It looks like Squirrely's does as well. I think Gmax Snorlax is a great pick and an underrated Gmax pick. And yeah, I think both these players look extremely good, and I'm excited to see what matches we have in the future.
Yeah, me too. Well, it was great doing match review with you, Saki. I'm gonna have to head out here, but great plays this week, and sorry if we didn't review your match. I know there's some matches still going on, and we can review those in the future at request for sure. Um, but some great battles this week. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, really interesting. Thanks for taking the time to come and do this with me, Goomer. We will see everybody hopefully next week. For some more matches. And yeah, I guess that's it.
All right. Have
All
a good
right.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, good. Have a good Thanksgiving. Thanks, Goomer.
Yep. Bye.
All right. See ya.